or beat beforehand, and I can tell you whether it is acceptable.
She said acceptable?
No, I'm exaggerating, but that's the interpretation. That's the interpretation.
I like her, bro.
Always a fun time being and operating a business, isn't it, Austin?
I almost said something very fucked up. I'm glad I didn't.
Sorry, playing with Atlas.
Yes. My furry friend.
That being said, Austin.
Salutations, greetings. You know? What's another fucking word?
You can start speaking in other languages. Hello, wie geht's?
Hola, hola.
Hola. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Classic.
What's a good night?
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
11 de la noche de Managua, Nicaragua. Me gusta como dice, me gusta.
See, you lose me. I heard Managua, Nicaragua. I know that.
Hometown, baby.
Anyway,
welcome to the AM Club podcast.
Right.
Episode 12. 12. Austin, what is on today's agenda?
Okay.
My friend.
So today's agenda. Whenever you're starting to do something in life, you know, especially something that requires kind of stepping outside the box, innovation, creation, you know, there's only a few people that understand what that's like. Creating something from nothing, you know, and when you're doing that, there's going to be a lot of people that don't understand. A lot of people don't understand you about what you're trying to do, about what your goal is, or goals are, you know. So that's today's topic, you know. Going through that process, going through the beginning stage of entrepreneurship or just starting a new phase of life, and people not understanding that. There's going to be a lot of people that don't understand that, and that's what we're talking about today.
Yes, sir.
You know,
they won't understand you.
They won't.
And I'm currently being tormented by a furry dog.
Yes.
Just so you know. So if you see me doing some weird stuff down here, understand that I am entertaining a beast here.
Yes.
Which is fine. It is fine. Because he sleeps all damn day.
So. He does.
But this is actually something that's been very prominent in our lives. But it's also very common. I think everybody realistically goes through this. And this was a post this was inspired partly by a buddy of mine. Let me pull up his Instagram real quick so I can tell you who it is. It's Oice, or otherwise known as Ace, at the.tiny.boy, spelled B-O-I. Give my brother a follow. He is cultivating two brands, clothing lines, and things of that sort. My brother is a hard-working man. Mashallah. Because he is, yes. Yes. Now, 8:12 p.m. yesterday. Understand, even those who you're doing it for may not understand the decisions that you make. They'll question you, asking why. This feeling will cause serious doubt and feelings of isolation to the untrained mind. Sorry. Listen, I'm trying to be serious, but I got a dog just aggressively licking my knee.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know where you got all this energy from, bro.
I tell him no, he can't lick me like that.
Listen, he can't when I'm trying to read something serious. Other than that, like, we're cool.
You gotta tell him relax.
Atlas.
I can lock him up.
Relax, man. No, he's good. All right. Okay. Listen, understand, even those who you're doing it for may not understand the decisions that you make. They'll question you, asking why. This feeling will cause serious doubt and feelings of isolation to the untrained mind. Have no resentment. Most of the time, the people we love don't have the perspective we do. They mean no harm. They just don't get it. If you are truly up to the heights you're chasing, you can't be deterred by anyone or anything. This is a necessary skill of endurance needed for winning with love. Less than, and then 3 to indicate a heart.
Gotcha.
That's my brother for you. That being said, that concludes today's podcast.
That's it.
That's
2
it.
minutes.
2 minutes.
No,
No,
you're
got
right.
6 minutes. You
Okay,
know?
so yeah,
Somewhere around there. But the key there, my friends, is even the people that you do it for might not understand why you're doing it. Let that sink in, because a lot of times that is a very large roadblock that you allow to stop you from going to the next level. Because imagine your mom calls you and your goal is to call, I don't know, buy your mom a house, and she says, "Why aren't you spending the weekend with me?"
Oh my God.
Do you know what that feels like? Being such a strong, family-minded individual who cares so much, and the person you care for and that you're sacrificing so much for cannot see or share that goal. But Austin, give us some insight on that. This guy is just
Yeah, he's okay. See, you're playing him too much. But anyway, to piggyback off what he said, we both gone through real situations of this where it's like, you know, there was a once in a lifetime opportunity where I had to go do something. We had a business opportunity, once in a lifetime business opportunity, and it was Mother's Day.
Oh, it was Mother's Day.
Yeah. And I had to tell my mom, I was like, look, I told her, I explained, I was like, you know, we're going here, we're doing this, we have this great opportunity, you know, I'm not going to be able to make it to dinner or whatnot. And she took it well, but rather to, you know, other times, or as opposed to other times. But just in general, you have to make those tough decisions like that where it's like, okay, look, you know, there's going to be some times where people are just going to be like, well, why? Why can't you come? Like, that's a nice opportunity and whatnot, but why can't you just do it tomorrow? Like, it's not I can just do it tomorrow type of thing, you know? Especially when it comes to starting your own business or you having these opportunities where it could take your company from here to here. It's not something that can just wait. So a lot of things you're going to have to be like, okay, look, like, you know, of course you have to, you know, prioritize family and whatnot, but at a certain point you're going to have to realize, like, look, if you really want this business to grow, certain things are going to have to take kind of a back seat, and if not back seat, like the passenger seat, you know? You're in the front seat driving the car, it might have to take the passenger seat to get to where you want to go.
And the biggest thing you said there, I feel like I'm holding a tiger. That's what this feels like. The biggest thing I think that you mentioned is like we're still in a position where we can't say no to all the opportunities.
Exactly.
Like we've earned a cushion enough to where we can filter out certain requests and we can say no, I'd say maybe 10 to 15% of the time. Mm-hmm. But still, roughly 90 to 85% of the requests we get, we essentially have to say yes.
Right.
And
have no choice. It's
great opportunities and you have to capitalize on them. And that's exactly where we are and what we're trying to do. And what you touched on there is like, people don't understand that you cannot say no to these opportunities because you're not thinking like a tactician. You're thinking like a strategist. You're trying to win the war, not the battle. You're not saying, oh, I'm tired today, or hey, Austin, we have 3 shoots today, or we have to drive to an entirely different city in the morning and attend a multi-hour event and then come back to shoot a bar or a nightclub or to work with a business that operates at night.
This Saturday, by the way.
And have a turnaround time that's still prompt over the course of the weekend. So it's like you would want to be like, oh, I'm tired, or I want to see my family, or I want to spend time with my dog. There's a whole lot of things that you would want to do. Like Austin always says, I could goof off and, you know, I don't know what you said, but it's like podcast number 2. Austin says, oh, I could goof off and blah, blah, blah. And basically, you could do whatever the hell you want, but you're not going to get to where you need to get to long term or where you want to. And then you're going to look back and be like, what happened? Where did I go wrong?
Exactly. So just to Again, piggyback off what Jose said. It's just there's gonna be so many opportunities where, especially starting off, you're not gonna have the luxury to say no. And hopefully you can have people around you that can understand that. But more often than not, whenever you're trying to do something that's not the norm, people are gonna be like, I mean, okay, like I see what you guys are doing with your little business there, but family's more important. Like,
And don't get me wrong. For us, family's
yeah,
practically number one.
Yes. However, there's gonna be times where if you want to become shit, if you want to fucking be a millionaire of some sort, the things and the amount of free time that you're able to have and spend with people and whatnot is not going to be that anymore. And people around you are either going to have to accept that or they're going to just not understand it. And we've been talking about things from like a family standpoint, but where I felt like most people can understand us is, and where most people kind of hold more value in, which is unfortunate, which I don't think is good. But social media.
Ooh.
So
Tell him, Austin, please.
We are both not social media people at all. I hate the shit. He hates the shit times two. So
right.
I've taken plenty of social media breaks. I've gone on there, for some time and then said, hey, I'm just not going to be on here. I don't even like it that much. And then not come back for a year. He just started his. So
after what, 5 years?
Exactly. So there's plenty of things where, we just have to get on social media when it comes to having a business and trying to market your business, that you're going to have to put that shit out there whether you like it or not. What
His bone just dug into my hip flexor.
Yeah, he's an nigga.
Sorry, guys.
Yes, my dog is.
A child on set, so please excuse.
But, just a lot of people, when it comes to having a new business that you're trying to start off the ground, they're probably going to look at like, what the fuck are they doing? And even if they aren't saying it, your mind probably is going to be thinking, people are probably thinking I'm fucking crazy. But
you are. You have to be.
You have to be a little bit. And you're just going to have to be like, okay, look, they're just not going to understand what we're trying to do here. And what we're trying to do is start a business, start a brand, market it, grow it from scratch. And whether people like it or, your friends are commenting like, what is this that y'all are doing?
Nobody quite understands.
But it's something that you're just going to have to do regardless. And even though people may not understand it initially, your goal in the long run is to help them understand what you're trying to do at the end, whenever you have reached those goals. And that may take a long time, but you have to keep your head down and not focus on other people and them not understanding what you're trying to do. Because as long as you understand what you're trying to do and you're working towards it and you're seeing progress and you're going to get there, then what they think about what you're trying to do, and if they understand it, doesn't matter. They can understand it when you're rich,
Or they can't.
It
doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter at that point.
Because if you're so weak that you allow people's opinions and understandings, yes, bless you again, to impact your mission and your goal, then first off, your intentions weren't pure, nor were they real enough. Or you're just simply weak. And now, you can get...
He's going to make you feel bad one time a podcast.
You can become better. I'm not saying these things as an absolutes. We don't speak in absolutes for the most part. But you have to acknowledge the fact that if you can never set a goal or a purpose and then see it through, then you're never going to be able to do that at a higher scale, at a higher level. Unless by some miracle unless it just happens. I'm just going to be outright. It's very unlikely that it's going to happen. See, now that he's not attacking me, I can talk. Listen, guys, I don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. He's usually not this hyper. But honestly, I think he's teasing.
Yeah, he definitely is.
Yeah, so he got one of those teething frenzies where he's like, here, let me just attack your hands. And your
I normally
fingers.
have this thing that he plays with, but it would be too loud during the podcast. But
That's fine.
yeah.
So hey, for the meantime, he's teething on my fingers.
Basically.
But don't worry. Fill in the blank. My fingers are strong.
I don't think that they're going to fill in that blank.
Hey.
I think that they have no clue what you were saying there.
If you know, you know.
I didn't know.
You don't need to, bro. I'm sorry, Atlas. Did I offend you? Real quick. Don't take it personal that people don't understand you. So, and this is true with anything, and it's a Mike Tyson quote. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
Hey, we finally remembered who came up with the quote today. Congratulations. We'll be here all night. Well,
yeah, I'll literally be here all night. Well, actually be there. Hey, you don't know where we're at. So maybe I will, maybe I won't be here all night. Who knows?
So basically, you need to have a plan that you can execute even after you got punched in the mouth. Something that's so simple and so concrete and that is very apparent and blaring and obvious to you. So in other words, if you don't have a mission statement, a purpose that's very clear and concise that you can always recognize at any moment that you get punched in the mouth or anything goes south or somebody who you love or who you're working for says something negative to you, and then that will sway you in a direction that will cause you to fail at your goals. It will set you in a different direction than you're heading. And you need to have a very strong compass that says, listen, Austin's telling me we need to go to B, C. And I tell Austin, no, we already have this heading for A and Z. And we're conflicted. And he gets emotional. But we look back and we'll say, hey, look, the plan says AZ, we're going AZ. Or it might say BC, we're going BC. Doesn't matter. The point is, that's how we can guide ourselves. If we allow ourselves to be swayed in the moment or in the emotions or by what people think, we're never going to move forward. We're always going to be rolling in circles.
And that's actually a great point because that just helped me realize or remember that there's been plenty of times where we were talking to people and they thought that they understood what we did. And their understanding of what they thought we were doing wasn't what we were initially doing. And there was possible moments where we could have been swayed and we could have been like, well,
we can do that.
Yeah, we can do that. If you think that's what we do, I mean, we can. For you, we could do like, no. You have to have that understanding of what you're doing, stay true to it no matter what other people think. And that's the hard part. Because if somebody says, hey, look, you guys, I know that you're selling A, but, you know, I'm looking for B. You know, if you guys can sell B, that'd be great. And maybe we could get into business. Then who you are as a person, who you are as a business loses its integrity. And that's one of your founding blocks of a business is, you know, the integrity and the purpose that you have behind it. So if you allow somebody outside of it to sway you for $1, you know, who knows if you're going to be as successful because you're going to be able to get pulled in either direction. Oh, I need you to do this for me. I need you to do this and do this for me. And at that point, you know, you're just a for hire guy that may not offer that really good of a product. You're just doing what people, you know, are trying to look for. And it sounds like it could be beneficial, but if you're not, like, I wouldn't say experts, but if you don't have a very good understanding of what you're trying to do and how you're trying to provide it, it's probably going to be shit in the long run. So again, when you're having these discussions with people, even with potential clients, you have to stand, you know, true to your word and what you're trying to do as a business, and don't let them sway you because their understanding may not be your understanding of what you're trying to do. And, you know, the goal in the long run is to kind of let your work speak for itself to where, you know, you can kind of provide them with that understanding, or how you move. You can provide them with that understanding of what you're willing to do and not to do or not going to do. And I think he definitely does a good job of kind of telling people, it's like, okay, look, you know, we can do this. This is an additional service. We don't normally do that. Or these are the services that we normally provide. You know, we don't do this. So
And we're not willing to try it.
Exactly.
Either. It's too far off tangent.
Exactly. So got to be clear cut and concise with all that type of stuff. So, you know, no matter what somebody else feels or kind of thinks about what you're doing, you have to have confidence and you have to have that understanding yourself to be like, this is what I'm doing and I'm not about to let anything sway me off that path of doing that.
Yeah. That's what I put. There's a difference too between adaptability and being well versed. And I think it's kind of like adaptability is not exactly the word that I would use, but in this context, I'm going to use it. And we always preach about being adaptable, but you can take that down a negative spiral. Now, in most cases, the analogy I would give you is a handyman versus a specific tradesman. So a handyman makes a good amount and he's essentially a jack of all trades, but he's a master of none. Now, the thing about a handyman is he gets paid handsomely, but an electrician gets paid more when he's working with electricity. A plumber gets paid more when he's working with plumbing. An individual who works in sewer gets paid more in sewer and black water disposal than the handyman does. The point I'm trying to make here is you can be well versed, but being adaptable can pigeonhole you into, it's kind of like the opposite of pigeonhole, but it can force you to spread yourself thin. You say, yes, I can do this, 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 because you're trying to quote unquote adapt in a situation and you're trying to fulfill because you're only looking at dollar signs, you're not looking at labor hours or headache or the actual greater scope, which is you're no longer focusing your efforts. And just because, and when I say versed is you understand that you have very clear, different capacities and capabilities. So the handyman could sit down and say, I'm a handyman, or he could say, I'm an electrician. I'm a plumber. I work in sewage. I work in gutters. I work in drainage. I work in wooding or in wood setting. So it's like highly specialized, but you understand that you're versed and you try to not let adaptability pull you in multiple directions. That got real messy, but you get the gist. Hopefully, if you don't, ask and you shall receive an explanation.
Well, on that note, any other closing remarks that we have on, the fact that people won't understand what you're doing all the time,
I had one. I'm trying to see if it comes back.
Well, okay, I'll let you think about that.
Do you have one?
I do.
Good, perfect.
Just trying to kind of solidify it in your head, when it comes to, I was watching something earlier today of Tyler the Creator, actually. Yeah, but here's the thing. He is a super, super millionaire, very creative guy. And if he started off with the thought of, I just have to try to make everyone understand what I'm trying to do, he probably wouldn't be as successful as he is now. He is a very much unapologetically himself type of person.
Definitely.
And, I think for a business and for a brand, most times that could pigeonhole yourself. However, it could lead to a lot more success than following the trend and trying to get people to understand what you're doing. He said, I'm going to do things my way, basically. And if you understand it, you understand it. If you don't, oh well, I'm not doing it for you. So when you think that way, I think you can get really, really far in life. And on top of that, you can be actually, satisfied with the work that you produced, because you didn't contort what you were doing. You didn't change what you were doing. You didn't try to make people understand what you were doing and lose energy trying to get people to understand what you're doing. You just said, hey, look, I'm going to put my art in the world. I'm going to put my business out there. I'm going to put my best foot forward. And if they get it, they get it. If they don't, they don't. If they want my business, they do. If they don't, they don't. And go from there. And I feel like that way is a 100% better way of doing things, because it cuts through the bullshit too. Because if you're trying to get people to understand, that's time that you're wasting trying to make people like what you're doing or make people like you, that you could be focused on people that do like you or do value what you're doing. And I think with his business model and with just his personality, that garnered him a lot of success. So when you're starting your business or having your business idea or whatever you're trying to do, at a certain point, you don't want to waste time trying to make people understand what you're trying to do. You say it once, maybe twice. And then at that point, you focus on getting to the money, getting into the success, your goals, completing those, whatever those are. And then leave those people guessing. If they don't understand still, let them don't understand. They'll understand it when you're at the top.
Or they won't.
Or they won't.
And that's fine.
Anything else, my brother?
I think at this point I'd be beating the dead horse. I think you summarized it very well.
And
that's a good analogy.
That's phrase. That's an analogy. He's not actually beating horses.
No, also,
for all y'all out there.
Are you wasting your energy to explain?
You're right. If you don't understand,
you don't understand.
You don't understand. You don't understand, man.
They won't always understand you. They won't understand you, and that's okay, my friends. The AM Club podcast.
Sign out.
What y'all doing?